morning. Moving away from the Cybercrime Act, we'll discuss the $220 million fine that has been slammed against Meta. There have been concerns about the threats by Meta to deactivate Instagram and Facebook in Nigeria. And that's what we're addressing next now. We're joined by a blogger and social media influencer, Dotun Fadeye. Dotun is here this morning joining us with Bonaventure Nwankama, who is also a blogger and social media influencer. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to
morning.
have you join us.
Thank you.
Okay, I think I want to start from where we left off with AZ.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And I'll start with you, Bonaventure.
Okay.
What are your concerns about the Cybercrime Act 2024?
Okay, basically, just like every other one has said, it brings fear to those of us who are actually bloggers and journalists and even social media users. Because what happens is that every time you want to type, even when it's right, you will now want to think, oh, if I type this now, what will be the outcome? Because somehow it feels like you're on your own. Because if at the end of the day you get arrested, before people even come for you to help you, you might have spent days in jail before even the case comes up and a lot of things. So it's more like those of us in the media, in the space, we're afraid, even to say the truth. So for me, sometimes it gives you that, if I'm going to write about this particular issue, what is going to be the outcome? They talk about freedom of speech, and these days, if you speak, not the freedom to speak, but after speaking, what happens
There's no
next?
guarantee of your
freedom.
So that's actually the situation we find ourselves now.
Okay, let me come to you, Dotun, and then bring our conversation, which is the face-off between Meta of Instagram and Facebook and the federal government of Nigeria. What's your immediate reaction to that?
All right, there is no going back. We just the Meta has to do what it needs to do.
Oh, really?
Because, yes.
But it says the demands are unrealistic.
Yeah, the fact that Meta even put out threat makes the whole thing worse. Because I mean, who would do that in their country? Who would do that in USA? Who would then violate USA law and go scot-free? So these are issues that we need to consider. If we let it slide, then we are setting bad precedents. Because they have been in Nigeria for a while. I mean, I could remember since 2010. And as far as I'm concerned, 200 million USD is small compared to...
Million USD. That's huge. You don't think so?
Okay, look at what happened in Texas.
Yeah.
According to the FCCPC press statement, they slammed them 1.5 billion USD in Texas alone. That's a small state in the United States of America compared to Nigeria. I mean, you can't tell me that a state in USA will be bigger than Nigeria. And count the number of years they've been here. And the number of times they've abused the data, the biodata of those who have been using their platforms in Nigeria. So we need to just get them to do what they need to do.
When you say get them to do what they need to do, what are you saying exactly?
Already,
I'd like
it's
you
in
to
court.
spell it out.
Yeah, it's in court. And there's been verdict, right? To get them to pay. So they need to get the fine done, paid.
But they just have till June to pay or get out.
Over
60 million Nigerians.
Now, issuing threats to leave or to exit will not stop him from paying. He had to pay. He's going to lose in both ways because he had to pay before leaving. That's it.
So, Bonaventure.
Yes.
If Facebook and Instagram leave Nigeria, what fallout do you expect to see? What does it mean to you as a blogger?
For me, it's actually going to be devastating, so to say, because even as a blogger, that's a space whereby we know that we use, and most Nigerians also use the platform. Of course, today the unemployment rate in Nigeria, but people have found these social media platforms as a focus where they can even make a living. I can tell you that today, even aside we that are bloggers, if these platforms are shut down today, some people will lose their jobs. Because there are those who are actually employed as social media managers.
Yes.
And those two platforms that people use, you know, for their business. And if it's eventually shut down, these people will lose their jobs. And at the same time, I say that Meta as well, saying that, oh, we will leave if you have to fine us $220 million is somehow, I don't know how to put it, I feel like it's an insult to our country because you can't operate on your own terms in another country. I believe that is something that they need to, what I think they should do is to negotiate. Because I've not heard any of the countries that they've been fined that they say, oh, because you find us, oh, we'll leave your country. It's just like a slap on our car and say, okay, we can come and operate any way we like. Because today, if I make, let's say, for instance, I make 1,000 naira on Meta, for instance, Meta is making way more than that. So I think it's a symbiotic relationship. And if they actually want to operate in Nigeria, I think they should negotiate. There's nothing wrong with that. And I also want to actually thank the government for actually coming up, because I think the FCCPC, lately, they are doing their job. Aside from even this, I think they've done most things, even in the Chinese. There was a Chinese issue sometime when Nigerians weren't allowed to buy something in a store. And so then they came up. So I feel like we're coming up to do the things we're supposed to do, whereby a company cannot just come into Nigeria, operate the way they like, and live whenever they want to, like as if we don't have laws that guide us. But at the same time, it's a symbiotic relationship that, like I said, they can sit together and find a way around it, because all of us will lose, both even Meta and Nigeria will lose in the process.
Okay, if you talk about that the federal government or the agencies have risen to their mandate, Meta is saying that their primary concern is even that the Data Commission, that's the Nigeria Data Protection Commission, is misinterpreting data privacy laws. I mean...
Okay, for me, basically, since this is in the law code,
yeah,
I believe that before you are fined, there must be reasons for that, and you cannot be fined out of space. There are laws that are actually there, and if that is the case, that's why I talk about negotiation. If this is the case, why not you come to me instead of you threatening? It's just like you're trying to blackmail the country into accepting whatever you throw up, and that is not for us as a country. We believe that we're a sovereign state. And as a matter of fact, if you are coming to our country to do business, I believe that you should also adhere to our laws. And the same way we do in your own country. As a matter of fact, if my business goes to any other country and I come there, you tell me, I will have to follow the law. Of course, in fact, they will even, as a Nigerian, they will even want to throw you and say, oh, you have to go. This is our country. You know how some of these countries look at Nigerians. So we are trying to do the right thing. And at the same time, what my stand on this is for them to negotiate. If you negotiate, I believe that we'll get a result that everybody will be happy with.
So he has a problem with the Cyber Crime Act when we started. But I'd like to know from you too, do you also have a problem with that? Because I'm wondering, if you have a problem, if you then see this also by the federal government as something that they will be happy about, that federal government would be happy to see Nigeria Meta leave, because it's further going to serve as, the lack of freedom for social media users to express their views and call out government.
No, an average blogger would have to, abide by the Cybercrime Act, because it's like the rules that guides what to do. So doing things outside cybercrime is going to get you in trouble. It's just at the back of our mind, so we don't...
But do you have a problem with it? Would you like that it is revisited?
I never had any problem with that. I never had any problem with that. So...
But have you studied it, though?
Yeah, of course. It's been around for a while, so we all know what the content. So it's part of our work.
Now, Dotun, I'd like to take you back to the meta issue now. The issue here, the FCCPC took, in conjunction with other agencies, the Nigeria Data Protection Commission, they conducted an investigation that lasted for 38 months, according to the reports that came out. And they came out with a conclusion that Meta, its two companies, Facebook and Insta, were engaged in discriminatory and exploitative practices against Nigerian consumers.
Yeah.
Can you talk about any instances of these?
Okay, now,
did you experience any of this?
to be honest, I never did, because we all carried away. We are all, we are all excited to use WhatsApp because we see it as one of the ways to get connected to the world. So we never really many of us never really pay attention to that until 2023, when the Nigeria Data Protection Act became, law, and everybody started becoming conscious that, oh, have I missing something here? Have I been missing something here? So that is when we became conscious of the fact that some of our data might be given freely to some of these meta platforms. Another thing that I would like to say kudos to FCCPC. They've done well, all right? But there's something that I will still need to pass this message across. Why I need to pass this message across to them is the fact that they are not making all this investigation public. They are not making them public. They need to do so. Those investigations should become a public document for people to know, and if possible, they should translate them to local languages for people to understand what they need to do whenever they are signing up on any social media platform, aside from Meta, for instance. So when people are aware, they are conscious of what they are getting into, there won't be problem like this. So I will encourage FCCPC to do that after this brouhaha has gone down, or if they can do that at the moment, that will be fine, because there are lots of people from different quarters saying FCCPC are not playing the script that some people who have always wanted social media to be clamped down, by using this fine to flush out the social media platforms in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So there are people saying that in some quarters, because let me shock you. I did a poll, right? I did a poll, and 75% of those who participated in that poll wanted Meta to pay. And this includes social media influencers, this includes digital marketers, this includes bloggers like me, influencers. They all wanted Meta to pay. They don't care whether Meta will be leaving or will be, closing down the platform. They are willing to forfeit some of their platforms and with massive followings, because we all pay. We pay to these people. We don't get them free. We don't get anything free on Meta. If you want to get your account verified, you pay. If you want to do digital marketing on ads, you pay. You pay for ads. So some of these people, we pay to them. So why can't they do the bidding? Why would they be violating our law in our country? So these are issues that we need to look into, and I will encourage FCCPs to keep doing what they are doing. Yeah.
So the thing is, the privacy invasion that the Nigerian government is talking about, when Meta pays us, it's not even going to get to you and I, whose privacy has been invaded, and we don't even know these people. And you rightly said that this investigation needs to be made public, because the chief executive officer of the FCCPC, that's Adamu Abdullahi, he only said that the investigation carried out in conjunction with the Data Commission, that's between May 2021 and December 2023, revealed invasive practices against data subject consumers in Nigeria. But he wasn't even clear specifically what those
all right. Based on my own findings, all right, what actually happened was, according to, there's what's called GDPR. It's some kind of law introduced by the European Union, all right? So it's applicable to those European countries, all right? Although it kind of affects us too, positively as Africans, because everything has to do with data management and data usage online within the digital space. But what I actually found out was the fact that in Europe, WhatsApp gives them option to opt out if after they've read the terms and conditions to use their app. They put it there either yes or no. After you've read that your data, your biodata will be used for so and so, after you have given us your data will be used. And if you don't like it, you can opt out. But here, they only put agree. They didn't give us the option of yes or no. That is where the problem started. So when you go to Europe, when you download WhatsApp in Europe, in any European country, or USA or UK, you will see that yes or no. Should I opt out or opt in? But here, when after you have read terms and conditions, you just see agree. And that is the only option they gave to. And that's how we've been running it for the past 13 or 14 years or thereabout.
But do people even read terms of agreement?
Exactly. They find
yes.
That's
and if you're not even going to agree, why don't you just leave my platform?
Because we just wanted to connect to the world.
But you should leave my platform if you don't want to agree with my terms that you don't even read.
Exactly.
Okay, I think that's the part where FCCPC comes in, because we know that most Nigerians just want to get into the app. So as a matter of fact, that's why the agency is there, to actually regulate, because they somehow know. Let me tell you, Facebook are mainly used, from my research, are mainly used by people in rural communities. Mainly, if you check the percentage of users, because it's very easy for them to use.
Exactly.
So in Facebook, they use it to call out government. If they have representatives that are not doing well, go to Facebook. They've used it even to achieve a lot of things in their communities.
Citizen journalism,
So it's actually going to affect them. And when people talk about if government is trying to find a way to stifle voices or by shutting it down, that's why my colleague is talking about making the findings open for everybody to read.
Yeah.
But the thing is this, people that are using these platforms most times don't even know that, oh, my data could be stolen or anything, right? So we just want to be honest. But at the same time, even if that, okay, it benefits every Nigerian, the organization themselves should also know that the benefit that comes to us, they also benefit, because they're charging us to do a lot of things on the platform. In fact, which year did they even monetize Nigerians? Other countries before now have been monetized. It was even an issue.
That's one thing that I would like to also chip in.
You understand? It has been an issue.
Yeah. So they brought Facebook to us, WhatsApp and all those platforms to us like a Trojan gift. This is a gift to you all. Whereas they are earning, because every single person or social media user that downloads WhatsApp or Facebook app, for every WhatsApp that you download, they earn. Without even using it, just download it, you earn. So that's where they started earning from us, far before they started monetizing us. And to even get us monetized here, there is the strict rules you have to follow. If you don't meet those rules, nothing for you. So our address is also an issue. The geographical part of the world that we live in is also an issue for them. And then the fact that they also suspect Nigerians as being stubborn, and we are stereotyped, yes, and we are also profiled. So they don't always want to give us that monetization on a platter of gold. So you post, you do beautiful content, yet nothing for you. But in those countries, in EU, they make it clear to them that if you want us to be on your platform, then if I post a video, 2 or 3 people and you have a lot of viewers, you must give me money for it. But here, we are just floating. Okay. So these are issues that they're just cheating us. They earn more. And if they want to exit, they should go ahead.
Sounds like there are some intellectual property issues here as well.
Yeah, they should go ahead, because this is going to become a trend along the West African coast. Because whatever Nigeria pioneer, it becomes trend to Ghana, it becomes trend to Liberia. I mean, most of the Anglophone countries will follow suit.
See, if these guys leave Meta, Facebook, and Instagram in particular, we know what happened during Buhari when Twitter, and we started using third-party apps like VPN.
Exactly.
Is that not going to happen again? At the end of the day, someone is still going to be earning.
The thing is that, when Twitter was banned in Nigeria, most Nigerians were using it. Maybe I can say
people change location.
But the fact was
where
that
were you at that time? What country were you?
I was in many countries because I have to go and look for information. So the fact is that when this thing happened, and many people will leave the platform, and secondly, for those who are doing business, it's going to be a challenge because you're talking about location. You get the point. But fact is that if today Meta leaves, we have options actually. But then that doesn't make it, because my challenge, my problem in this is this: the fact that you are just telling, if you have to fine us 220 million, we will leave. That's like, oh, saying that we don't need you, as a matter of fact, that we are the ones that need them.
But
Exactly.
Bonaventure,
Yeah,
when you
To
say
me,
we
honestly, I
have
have no fear. I know no fear, because when you make me do things under duress, or you're trying to circumvent my rules, using blackmail, you get on my nerves. So that actually killed all the morale for me. So, and if they are exiting, fine. It will also encourage our tech guys to look inwards.
Yeah, that's
think
where I'm
outside
coming.
the box.
That's
because
where I'm coming
some
to
of these
at
tech
this
guys are
point.
doing fine, and these people are actually working at Facebook. Many of them are working there. So they have all the secrets in their hands. So if they want to step away, let them do. So our guys might come back home, and I can bet you, if Facebook step out today, within a week, I tell you something will happen.
See, within a week, you say, look at Adamu Garuba's music Krawi, he calls it or something, and eventually he tells Google to take it
let
down.
me come to that.
We don't have a viable local
Yeah, there's something I want to
alternative
say.
yet.
Why government is doing a lot
Yeah.
in order to regulate these platforms. I think government should also take responsibility in providing an enabling environment for our own developers, our tech people to flourish.
So is the problem of the government now?
I'm not talking about being the problem of government. I'm saying that if Meta leaves, you understand, government should also, because I have friends
when you say government should provide an enabling environment,
yes.
I'd like you to be specific.
Okay, so
because we're talking soft power here.
Yes.
Exactly.
And when you look at the number of Nigerians who work in Silicon Valley, the number of Nigerians who are involved in tech across the world,
yes,
you would imagine that for each one that is outside there are probably 3 or 4 who are still here.
Yes.
Maybe we have not even discovered them yet. There are so many undergraduates today in computer science classes who probably will make a discovery tomorrow that will also equal what Meta or
Doesn't sound like he has to
yes.
already. The way he's eager to, please get out if you want to get out.
To be specific. What are these things you're talking about when you talk about an enabling environment? What do you think government should do to encourage inventions in Nigeria?
Yeah.
I think government should actually, because why I'm saying it is that I have friends who have already developed platforms. So now, these platforms that they've developed, they need funds. You understand? And what you find out in the country lately, or even any other time, that there is that when issues of loan, for inventors or people who have things to do comes up, you don't get it unless you have somebody who is going to do one work to come and say, oh, this person, let's support this person. There's not this open space whereby, okay, I have an invention, right?
Hold on. You're talking about access to funds.
Yes.
Any of your friends who are inventors, have they tried to access loans from the banking sector? What did they find out?
It's not even because, loans in the bank, how it could be in Nigeria. You understand? You look at the profit margin, the repayments. So these things cannot work by bank loan for me, because I know that it requires a lot of time for you to even earn enough to start paying. What I'm talking about is a situation where we have a kind of funds where people who have such inventions, government can as well monitor them, the processes. You understand? If that environment is, okay, look at Facebook. How did they start? These guys were in the university. They started it for their university, and from there they were able to scale up, and other people made it public. How did they do it? They had the enabling environment, and people were ready even to fund.
Well,
right? So I think that for us, government can make it as a duty. And say, okay, this is that everybody is there. But the challenge still is that sometimes, like people say that, okay, they don't want us to talk because this social media platform, everybody more like have the freedom to wake up in the morning and type something. And because of that, government might be shying away from say, oh, if I let this. But at the same time, we must open this because the way the world is going, the world is dynamic. There are certain things that are going to even tech. The way tech is even moving, it's faster than any other thing.
Okay.
So we need to embrace it.
Itchy to say something.
So what I would like to actually say is some of these are what's happening right now between Meta and Nigeria and the federal government is one of the challenges that we will face as we move towards digitization, digital economy. Because generally, I want federal government to prepare ahead because we are going to face a lot of challenges, overbearing attitude of tech giant, tech
companies.
because they are going to be, at our faces. They are going to be coming up with, stringent policies that may not suit us. All right, so that's why he's bringing government into some of these issues, so to make the place be a level playing field for them to have options, so that when they come up with this kind of, if you allow me to do it, I will go. You understand? Then the government can say, okay, go to hell. You
so
understand?
if I understand you clearly,
Doctor,
you are saying that what government should be doing is to ensure that Nigerians who use these platforms are at par with their counterparts in Europe and the Americas.
Exactly.
Just like having those same regulations and laws.
Create a level playing field by preparing ahead of the challenges, whatever, from any tech organization or tech companies across the world that may want to invest in Nigeria. Because someone was saying the other day that, okay, slamming them with 200 million USD may send wrong signal to other investors.
Yeah.
Let other investors who want to come and rip us off go.
So what are the options that you have as a blogger yourself?
The options.
Yeah, alternative platforms.
We don't use Meta platform alone to influence.
Yes.
We have other platforms like X. We have YouTube. We have a couple of other platforms.
No, we're talking of local alternatives.
Yeah,
viable local alternatives. Viable.
For instance, so let me even say, it said something that got me going. I wanted to come chip in.
Okay.
See, for government to invest in a platform like this, like Meta, Facebook and the rest, it's going to be a lot of work for the users, because any mistake of criticizing government, you know what to stand against. So bringing government into this may not really work per se. So it's going to be, it's a capitalist environment.
No, Doctor, let's look at alternatives to government involvement.
Okay.
What he is saying is, he's asking government to provide a level playing field. Not level playing field. He said enabling environment for people to get funding for the work they need to do, because like in several other businesses in Nigeria, you cannot begin to talk about the period when you break even, not to talk of when you'll be able to start.
Yes,
so
of course.
I think what you're talking about, Bonaventure, is about soft loans.
Yes, soft loans.
Or grants that can help people to do what they need to do. So, Doctor, what do you think about that?
He's actually right. But most times when we try to push some things to government, we don't usually get good feedback. All right, it's common. It's a common trend here in Nigeria. At a point where there are programs and policies that came up, and especially from NIDA, there are programs for young tech guys, young tech people, to develop their skills, and they promise to give them subventions and loans, but it never happened. It never happened, but they were trained. At a point I registered too, to learn, Python and the rest. But along the line, I just...
Did Python beat you?
That's something I want to say, about...
So most times when we push everything to government, we don't usually get feedback. So I decided to digress to make other private organizations, because I mentioned something like it's a capitalist environment. So other private organizations can, invest and look into this and say, okay, not everything that government should do for us. Let us invest in this too. Because the owner of Meta is a private person in USA, and he never got any fund from government.
Okay, but let's have Bonaventure at this point.
Okay, basically, I used to, when I train people, I used to consult for organizations. What I used to tell them is this: that social media is a playground. We that are bloggers, basically you have a website, for us. Right, for a business, one thing you need to know is that even aside from saying you will shut down, you hear many instances where, so Facebook is down, Instagram is down. And when that place is the only place you have your business, that means your business ends there. But then, like I said, what I used to advise is this: social media is just like a playground. As a business, I'm talking to young Nigerians now, those who have businesses. Have a website. And while you are using social media, you can interact with your potential customers and make sure that they know where your home is. It's just like, let's say in a physical, you must have a shop. Maybe you go for a trade fair And when you go for that trade, it's just like a playground. You try to capture customers. So that as a a young person who has business online, try and have a website because you have a higher percentage of control of your website. And people who come to you on social media, now you have to harvest them and make sure that they know your back end, where they can go back to in case these platforms are
And I
down.
think that's what some businesses do, because sometimes their sales on Instagram, Facebook is 100%, but they tell you if you order via our website, you have maybe 5% discount or so.
Yeah, that's to bring them. But most people don't know. They don't. Some of them, you see that Instagram is where the business is, and on word of mouth. And after that, they can't have. So they need to invest in having a website that can help them.
Okay, I need to understand something, because one of the things that the federal government of Nigeria is demanding from Meta is that that Meta should seek prior approval before transferring any personal data out of Nigeria. And Meta says this is unrealistic. I'm not sure I understand what federal government is asking for with that demand.
Oh,
seek approval before you transfer our data.
Seek approval from who?
Okay.
From the government or from the consumer whose data is about to be transferred?
Both. Yeah. Both. Because now we don't have an act. We have Nigeria Data Protection Act of 2023.
What does it provide for?
It protects you. It protects your data that you put within the digital space.
Okay.
You know, it protects your digital footprint. All right? So as long as you are within the digital, you do any activity within the digital space, your data, anything that has to do with you is protected. And if it's being used against you in and outside Nigeria, the person will be held liable. Must be, you know, just like what is happening between Meta and Nigeria right now. So that's what they are trying to say. And also, there have been a rumor that some of our data here in Africa are being used in some Western countries against us. So it's like trying to get some of the, trying to know, let's get the database of every soul on the face of the earth.
And there was a time we heard that our data was being bought for 100 naira.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
that was a rumor.
So, yeah, it's been rumor. All right.
That's why the two called it a rumor. All right, gentlemen, we thank you very much for coming on the program this morning. It's time for us to go. Thank you so much for your time and, of course, your insight on this issue, looking at the face-off between the FCCPC and Meta. Thank you, Dr. Fadaye and Bonaventure Nwankama, both of them bloggers and social media influencers, joining us this morning to talk about the $220 million fine against Meta, and of course the concerns over the threat of deactivation of Meta's apps in Nigeria, Facebook and Instagram. All right, that's how far we can go on the program this morning.